All right, everybody. So, last video of the actual play. There may be one more where I'm class and what to do with this and when things are due and stuff like that. But as far as the actual play itself, we're ending it with this video. So, Romeo has learned of Juliet's death, but he has not learned of Friar Lawrence's plan. Romeo believes that Juliet is really dead, and he's went and bought poison so that he can take the poison at Juliet's grave. That's where we're going to pick up here. So, started on Sunday. We are now at late Wednesday night. Like Wednesday going into Thursday morning, basically. So, let's go ahead and take a look here. And we are in the graveyard. We're going to start at the graveyard. A lot of stuff's going to start converging here together at this graveyard. Friar Lawrence is on his way so that he can break Juliet out. Juliet's about to wake up. Romeo's on his way. And we start with Paris and his servant there. Give me that torch, boy. Hence and stand aloof. Yet put it out, for I would not be seen. Under yon yew trees lay thee all alone, holding thine ear close to the hollow ground. So shall no foot upon the churchyard tread, being loose, unfirm, and digging up of graves, but thou shalt hear it. Whistle then to me as a signal that thou hearst something approach. Give me those flowers. Do as I bid thee. Go. He's like, all right, give me your torch. You go and hang out over the tree or under this tree over here. Listen to make sure nobody else comes into the graveyard. If somebody's coming in, whistle so that I know they're coming. The page puts his torch out. He gives Paris flowers. And he says to himself, I am almost afeared to stand alone here in this churchyard, yet I will adventure. So he's like, I'm scared to be here, but I'll stay here. So the page leaves. Paris is scattering flowers on Juliet's tomb. So the tomb is closed. They put the body in there, close the doors. So but Paris is out putting flowers on the grave. Sweet flower, with flowers thy bridal bed I strew. Oh, woe! Thy canopy is dust and stones, which with sweet water nightly I will do, or wanting that with tears distilled by moans, the obsequies that I for thee will keep. Nightly shall I be to strew thy grave and weep. So he's like, I'm out here putting flowers. I would normally have put flowers on your bridal bed. Now I'm out here putting them on your bridal bed the night that, this is where you're supposed to be, or you are now the night we're supposed to be married. The canopy of your bed is dust and stones. I'll water these flowers every night with water, or I'll water them with my tears, and I'll be here every night. The page whistles. Somebody's approaching. The boy gives warning something doth approach. What cursed foot wanders this way tonight to cross my obsequies and true love's right? What with a torch? Muffle me night a while. So he's like, who's coming? He's like, oh, somebody with a torch. He's like, I'll hide in darkness for a little while, so I'm going to hide. Paris moves away, and in come Romeo and Balthazar to the scene. Give me that mattock and the wrenching iron. Give me that pickaxe and the crowbar. And he takes them from Balthazar. Hold, take this letter. Early in the morning, see thou deliver it to my lord and father. He gives a letter to Balthazar. Give me the light. He takes a torch from Balthazar. Upon thy life I charge thee, whatever thou hearest or seest, stand all aloof, and do not interrupt me in my course. Why I descend into this bed of death is partly to behold my lady's face, but chiefly to take thence from her dead finger a precious ring, a ring that I must use in dear employment. Therefore hence, be gone. But if thou, jealous, dost return to pry in what I further shall intend to do, by heaven I will tear thee joint by joint, and strew this hungry churchyard with your limbs. time and my intents are savage, wild, more fierce and more inexorable far than empty tigers or the roaring sea. So he's like, go out, do not interrupt me. Don't come back because I'm going down there to look at her, but I also need a ring from her finger for an important purpose. He's telling Balthazar this so that he doesn't have to tell Balthazar he's going down there to kill himself. Do not come back. If you do, I swear I'll tear you apart limb by limb and I'll spread you all over the graveyard to be eaten by the animals. My plan, my time and intents are savage, wild. Like my plan is wild and savage, more fierce and more inexorable far than empty tigers of the roaring sea. I'm more fierce in what I'm doing here than a hungry tiger or the sea. Balthazar says, I'll be gone, sir, and not trouble you. Romeo says, so shall thou show me friendship. Here, take that. And he gives Balthazar money. Live and be prosperous, and farewell, good fellow. Balthazar's taking the money and kind of looking at him and goes, for all the same, I'll hide me hereabout. His looks I fear, and his intents I doubt. So he's like, I'm not going anywhere. Paris can hear him. Balthazar, of course, doesn't know Paris is there, but Paris is hearing all this. And he's like, I don't know. He's like, I'm not leaving. I'm going to hide somewhere. I'm scared by the look on his face, and I don't believe that that's what he's going to do. So Balthazar moves off to the side to wait, but ends up falling asleep. Romeo says, looking at the tomb, again, apostrophe, speaking to something as if it can like hear you and talk to you. He says, thou detestable maw, thou womb of death, gorged with the dearest morsel of the earth, thus I enforce thy rotten jaws to open, and in despite I'll cram thee with more food. And he begins to open the tomb with his tools. So he's like, you terrible mouth of death, you've eaten the dearest creature on earth. Now I'm going to force your rotten jaws to open and give you another body to eat. And Paris, hearing this, seeing this, sees now who it is. He sees that it's Romeo. Of course, nobody knows that they're married. So all he knows is that a Montague has shown up to a Capulet tomb. And he says to himself, this is that banished haughty Montague that murdered my love's cousin, in which grief it is supposed the fair creature died, and here is come to do some villainous shame to the dead bodies. I'll apprehend him. So he's like, it's a Montague. He's the one that killed Tybalt, and Juliet was so distraught over Tybalt's death that it killed her. So, you know what? I'm going to stop him before he can do something to the bodies. So he hollers at Romeo, stop thy unhallowed toil, vile Montague. Can vengeance be pursued further than death? Condemned villain, I do apprehend thee. Obey and go with me, for thou must die. So he's basically saying, stop what you're doing, you evil Montague. Are you here to take revenge on dead bodies? I've caught you. Obey and come with me. Now you must die. And Romeo says, I must indeed. And therefore came I hither. I've got to die. That's why I'm here. Good gentle youth, tempt not a desperate man. Fly hence and leave me. Think upon these gone. Let them affright thee, I beseech thee, youth. Put not another sin on my head by urging me to fury. Oh, be gone. By heaven, I love thee better than myself, for I came hither armed against myself. Stay not, be gone. Live and hereafter say a madman's mercy. Bid thee run away. So Romeo's like, please, don't mess with somebody that's as desperate as I am. Get out of here. Think upon all these dead bodies and let them scare you away. Don't put another sin on my head by making me angry. I love you better than myself because I came here to kill myself. Please be gone. Don't stay here. Tell them that a madman told you to run away. Paris says, I do defy thy commendation and apprehend thee for a felon here. He's like, I'm not going to do what you say, and I'm arresting you. Wilt thou provoke me? Then have at thee, boy. So Romeo's like, you're still going to go after me? Fine, let's do this. Romeo and Paris begin to fight. And the page, Paris's page, sees this. Oh, Lord, they fight. I'll go and call the watch. He's like, I'm going to go get the cops. They're fighting. So the page leaves. Paris, while Romeo and Paris are fighting, Romeo stabs Paris. Oh, I am slain. If thou be merciful, open the tomb. Lay me with Juliet. So Paris is like, I've been killed. He's like, if you're a merciful man, lay me with Juliet. Paris dies. So now 3 people have died in this story. Romeo says, in faith I will. Let me peruse this face. It's Mercutio's kinsman, noble county Paris. What said my man when my betossed soul did not attend him as we rode? I think he told me Paris should have married Juliet. Said he not so? Or did I dream it so? Or am I mad, hearing him talk of Juliet, to think it was so? Oh, give me thy hand, one writ with me in sour misfortune's book. I'll bury thee in a triumphant grave. So he's like, I'll bury you with Juliet. And he's like, let me look and see who you are. And he goes, oh, it's Paris. Paris is one of Mercutio's kinsmen. Paris is one of the prince's kinsmen. And he was like, what did Balthazar say when we were riding here and I wasn't paying attention? Did he tell me Paris was supposed to marry Juliet? Is that what he said? Or was I dreaming? Or did I go crazy? Or did I hear him say something about Juliet and I just put that together? And he takes his hand, he takes Paris's hand, and he's like, we've been put in such bad luck together. I'll bury you in a magnificent grave. So Romeo opens the grave and he sees Juliet. A grave? Oh no. A lantern slaughtered youth, for here lies Juliet, and her beauty makes the vault of feasting presence full of light. Death, lie thou there, by a dead man interred. And he lays Paris in the tomb. So he's like, no, this isn't a grave, it's a lantern. Juliet lies here, and her beauty fills the tomb with light. And he lays Paris in there and he says, a dead man is burying you here. How oft, when men are at the point of death, have they been merry, which the keepers call a lightning before death? Oh, how may I call this a lightning? Oh, my love, my wife. Death, that hath sucked the honey of thy breath, hath had no power upon thy beauty. Thou art not conquered. Beauty's ensign yet is crimson in thy lips and in thy cheeks, and death's pale flag is not advanced there. Tybalt, liest thou there in a bloody sheet? Oh, what more favor can I do thee, than with that hand that cut thy youth in twain to sunder his that was thine enemy? Forgive me, cousin. Ah, dear Juliet, why art thou yet so fair? Shall I believe that unsubstantial death is amorous, and that the lean abhorred monster keeps thee here in dark to be his paramour? For fear of that, I will stay with thee, and never from this palace of dim night depart again. Here will I remain, with worms that are thy chambermaids. Oh, here will I set up my everlasting rest, and shake the yoke of inauspicious stars from this world-wearied flesh. Eyes, Look your last. Arms, take your last embrace. And lips, oh, you the doors of breath, seal with a righteous kiss a dateless bargain to engrossing death. And he kisses Juliet. So, where we're going with some of it. So he's seeing Juliet. And he says, the death that's taken away your breath, that sucked the honey of thy breath, hath no power yet upon thy beauty. He's like, you don't look dead. You look alive. You're not conquered. Your lips and your cheeks are still rosy. You're not pale. Of course, it's because Juliet's about to wake up. She's not dead. The color's coming back to her face. And he sees Tybalt laying there, and he says, Tybalt, what better favor can I do for you than to take the man who killed you and kill him? And then he says, Juliet, why art thou yet so fair? Why are you still so beautiful? Should I believe that death is keeping you here because he loves you? Because of that, I'll stay here and I'll never leave you. And then he says, he's talking here and he says, eyes, look at her one last time. Arms, hug her one last time. And lips, kiss her one last time. Kisses Juliet and he takes his poison. Come, bitter conduct. Some unsavory guide. Thou desperate pilot, now at once run on the dashing rocks thy seasick wary bark. Here's to my love. Drinks the poison. Oh, true apothecary, thy drugs are quick. Thus with a kiss, I die. So, takes the poison, says, oh, that's quick. Kisses her one last time and dies. In comes Friar Lawrence outside. He's got a lantern, a crowbar, and a shovel. St. Francis be my speed. How oft tonight have my old feet stumbled at graves? Who's there? He's like, help me. I'm stumbling around on gravestones. St. Francis, please help me. And he sees somebody. Who's there? It's Balthazar. Here's one, a friend, and one that knows you well. Friar Lawrence says, bliss be upon you. Tell me, good my friend, what torch is yon that vainly lends his light to grubs and eyeless skulls? As I discern it, burneth in the capel's monument. He's like, oh, thank God. He's like, tell me, who's got the torch over there that's burning in the Capulet's tomb? And Balthazar says, it doth so, holy Lord, and there's my master, one that you love. He's like, there is a torch burning over there. It's my master's. It's somebody that you know and love. And Friar Lawrence says, who is it? Balthazar says, Romeo. Friar Lawrence says, how long have they been there? Balthazar says, full half an hour. Friar Lawrence says, go with me to the vault. I dare not, sir. My master knows not, but I am gone hence, and fearfully did menace me with death if I did stay to look on his intents. He's like, I'm not going. My master doesn't know I'm still here, and he said he would kill me if I go see what he's doing. Stay then. I'll go alone. Fear comes upon me. Oh, much I fear some ill, unthrifty thing. He's like, I'll go alone then. He's like, oh God, I do not feel good about this. I'm really suddenly scared. And Balthazar says, as I did sleep under this yew tree here, I dreamt my master and another fought, and that my master slew him. He's like, as I was sleeping here, I had a dream that Romeo and somebody fought, and that Romeo killed him. And Friar Lawrence is walking towards the tomb. Romeo! Oh no. Alack, alack. What blood is this which stains the stony entrance of the sepulchre? What mean these masterless and gory swords to lie discolored by this place of peace? He's like, whose blood is this? Why are there bloody swords laying here with nobody around them? And he looks in the tomb. Romeo! Oh, pale. Who else? What? Paris too? And steeped in blood? Oh, what an unkind hour is guilty of this lamentable chance. The lady stirs. He's like, Romeo, he's pale. And who's that? Oh, crap, that's Paris? And he's covered in blood? When did this happen? He's like, the lady's moving. Juliet wakes up and sees Friar Lawrence. Oh, comfortable friar, where is my lord? I do remember well where I should be, and there I am. Where's my Romeo? She's like, where's my husband? I remember that where I'm supposed to be, and here I am. Where's Romeo? And there's noise coming from outside of the tomb. The Friar Lawrence says, I hear some noise, lady, come from that nest of death, contagion, and unnatural sleep. A greater power than we can contradict hath thwarted our intents. Come away. Thy husband in thy bosom there lies dead, and Paris too. Come, I'll dispose of thee among a sisterhood of holy nuns. Stay not to question, for the watch is coming. Come, go, good Juliet, I dare no longer stay. So he's like, I hear noise. Come on, lady, come out of the tomb. He's like, something even bigger than us has ruined our plans. Romeo's right there, laying dead, and Paris is dead too. He's like, come on, I'll take you to a group of nuns. Please don't wait. The cops are coming. We have to go. I can't stay here any longer. And Juliet says, go. Get thee hence, for I'll not away. She's like, get out of here. I'm not leaving. Friar Lawrence runs away. And she looks and sees Romeo, and she sees the poison vial in his hand. What's here? A cup closed in my true love's hand? Poison, I see, hath been his timeless end. Oh, churl, drunk all, and left no friendly drop to help me after? I'll kiss his lips. Haply some poison yet doth hang on them to make me die with a restorative. So she's like, poison. He drank it all. He didn't even leave me a drop to help me. I'll kiss your lips. Maybe some poison is still on them, and that kiss will kill me. And she kisses Romeo and says, thy lips are warm. Basically, she's saying, like, you haven't been dead long. In comes the watchman and Paris's page. So the main cop comes in. You hear the watchman, lead boy, which way? Yea, noise. Then I'll be brief. Oh, happy dagger, this is thy sheath. There rust, and let me die. She pulls Romeo's sword or knife and goes, here's the sheath. Rust there. Stabs herself in the chest and dies. And in comes the page. This is the place, there, where the torch doth burn. The watchman says, the ground's bloody. Search about the churchyard. Go, some of you. Where you find, attach. So he's like, the ground's all bloody here. Go, search everywhere. And anybody you find, arrest them. Some of the cops leave. The watchmen leave. Pitiful sight. Here lies the county slain, and Juliet bleeding, warm and newly dead. Who here hath lain these 2 days buried? Go, tell the prince, run to the Capulets, raise up the Montagues, some others, search. So he kind of walks in and he's like, oh, there's Paris. Paris is dead, and well, there's Juliet, and it looks like she's dead again. You know what? Go get everybody. Go get the prince, go get the Capulets, go get the Montagues, others of you. Go look around. Some of the watchmen leave. We see the ground whereupon those woes do lie, but the true ground of all these piteous woes we cannot without circumstance decry. He's like, I can see all the pain, all the bad stuff that's happened, but I don't know why. So in comes another cop, a second watchman, and he's got Balthazar. Here's Romeo's man. We found him in the churchyard. Hold him in the safety till the prince come hither. He's like, hold him here until the prince gets here. And in comes a third cop with Friar Lawrence. Here's a friar that trembles, sighs, and weeps. We took this mattock and spade from him as he was coming from this churchyard side. He's like, here's the friar, and he's trembling and crying. And we took a pickaxe and a shovel from him as he was trying to leave the graveside. A great suspicion. Stay the friar too. He's like very suspicious. Keep him here too. And in comes the prince and all the prince's people. What misadventure is so early up that calls our person from our morning rest? It's like, what's going on so early that you have to wake all of us up? And in come Capulet and Lady Capulet. What should it be that's so shrieked about abroad? Like, what's the problem? Why are they all yelling? Lady Capulet says, oh, the people in the street cry Romeo, some Juliet, and some Paris, and all run with open outcry towards our monument. It's like the people in the street are yelling Romeo, and some of them are yelling Juliet, and some of them are yelling Paris, and they're all crying and running towards our tomb. And the prince says, what fear is this which startles in our ears? So he's like, what's everybody crying about? And the watchman says, sovereign, here lies the County Paris slain, and Romeo dead, and Juliet dead before, warm and new killed. He's like, so Prince, Paris is dead, Paris has been killed, Romeo's dead, and somehow Juliet's been killed a second time. The prince says, search, seek, and know how this foul murder comes. He's like, go out there, figure out what's happening. The watchman says, here's a friar and slaughtered Romeo's man, with instruments upon them fit to open these dead men's tombs. Capulet says, oh heavens, oh wife, look how our daughter bleeds. This dagger hath mista'en, for lo, his house is empty on the back of Montague, and it missheathed in my daughter's bosom. He's like, our daughter's bleeding. This knife, it's a Montague's knife, but it's in our daughter's chest. And Capulet says, oh me, this sight of death is a bell that warns my old age to a sepulture. So she's like, this is like a warning that I'm old and I'm going to die soon. And in comes Montague. And the prince says, come, Montague, for thou art early up to see thy son and heir now early down. Alas, my liege, my wife is dead tonight. Grief of my son's exile hath stopped her breath. What further woe conspires against mine age? So the prince is like, Montague, come look. You're up early to look at your son who's been killed early. And Montague says, my wife is already dead. She died tonight out of sadness because Romeo's been exiled and kicked out of town. What other pain do I have to go through? And the prince is like, look and thou shalt see. He's like, look and you'll see. And Montague sees Romeo. O thou untaught, what manners is in this to press before thy father to a grave? He's like, where are your manners, boy, that you've died before your father? And the prince says, seal up the mouth of outrage for a while, till we can clear up these ambiguities and know their spring, their head, their true descent. And then will I be general of your woes, and lead you even to death. Meantime, forbear, and let mischance be slave to patience. Bring forth the parties of suspicion. So he's like, let's everybody shut up for a little while, and let's figure out what's going on. Bring the suspicious people. Friar Lawrence says, I am the greatest, able to do the least, yet most suspected as the time and place doth make against me of this direful murder. And here I stand, both to impeach and purge, myself condemned and myself excused. So he's like, I'm here. I'm the person of greatest suspicion but I was able to do the least. And I'm the most under suspicion because I was the one leaving. I was here when all this happened. You can question me and you can punish me. I've already done both to myself. The princess, then say it what thou dost know in this. Tell us now what you know. I'll be brief, for my short date of breath is not so long as is a tedious tale. Romeo, there dead, was husband to that Juliet. And she there dead, that Romeo's faithful wife. I married them. And their stolen marriage day was Tybalt's doomsday, whose untimely death banished the new-made bridegroom from the city. For whom, and not for Tybalt, Juliet pined. Yes, or you, to remove that siege of grief from her, betrothed and would have married her perforce to county Paris. Then comes she to me, and with wild looks bid me devise some mean to rid her from this second marriage. Or in my cell there would she kill herself. Then gave I her, so tortured by my art, a sleeping potion, which so took effect as I intended, for it wrought on her the form of death. Meantime, I writ to Romeo that he should come hither, that he should hither come as this dire night, to help to take her from this borrowed grave, being the time the potion's force should cease. But he which bore my letter, Friar John, was stayed by accident, and yesternight returned my letter back. Then all alone at the prefixed hour of her waking came I to take her from her kindred's vault, meaning to keep her closely at my cell till I conveniently could send to Romeo. But when I came, some minute ere the time of her awakening, here untimely lie the noble Paris and true Romeo dead. She wakes, and I entreated her come forth and bear this work of heaven with patience. But then a noise did scare me from the tomb, and she, too desperate, would not go with me, but as it seems did violence on herself. All this I know, and to the marriage her nurse is privy. And if aught in this miscarried by my fault, let my old life be sacrificed some hour before his time unto the rigor of severest law. So I'm not going to run through all of that again. Essentially, hopefully by now you're able to understand a lot of what's said here. Friar Lawrence just tells them the story. He married Romeo and Juliet. The day they were married, Romeo killed Tybalt. That was who Juliet was crying for. Juliet's father tried to stop that pain and was going to marry her to Paris. Juliet came to Friar Lawrence and said, figure me some way out of this, or I'm going to kill myself right here. So I gave her a sleeping potion, and I wrote to Romeo so that we could be here to wake her up, but my letter didn't get there. So when I showed up, Paris and Romeo were dead. Juliet wouldn't leave. I got scared and left, and it seems that in that time she killed herself. The nurse knows that this happened. The nurse knows they were married. And if any of this is my fault, then you can kill me. And the prince says, we have still known thee for a holy man. Where's Romeo's man? What can he say in this? So he's like, we know you're a holy man. We believe you. What's Balthazar have to say? I brought my master news of Juliet's death, and then in post he came from Mantua to this same place, to this same monument. He shows him the letter that Romeo gave him. This letter he early bid me give his father, and threatened me with death, going in the vault if I departed not and left him here. Balthazar tells him what Romeo said. Give me the letter. I'll look on it. He takes the letter from Balthazar. Where's this county's page that raised the watch? Sirrah, what made your master in this place? He's like, why is Paris here? He came with flowers to strew his lady's grave, and bid me stand aloof, and so I did, Anon comes one with light to ope the tomb, and by my master drew on him, and then I ran away to call the watch. Page tells him what he saw. Paris came to put flowers on the grave. I left him alone. Somebody showed up. They fought. I ran away to get the cops. The prince starts reading Romeo's letter. This letter doth make good the friar's words, their course of love, the tidings of her death. And here he writes that he did buy a poison of a poor apothecary, and therewithal came to this vault to die and lie with Juliet. So he's like, the letter backs up everything the friar said. It says that how they got together, how they mentions that he found out about her death. It says that he bought poison from a poor person and that he came here to die. Where be these enemies? Capulet, Montague. Where are the enemies? Montague, Capulet, get over here. See what a scourge is laid upon your hate, that heaven finds mean to kill your joys with love. And I, for winking at your discords too, have lost a brace of kinsmen. All are punished. So it's like, see what your hatred has done? That it brought your loves together and killed them. And I, for not stopping it when I could have, I've lost 2 kinsmen. And Capulet says, oh, brother Montague, give me thy hand. This is my daughter's jointure, for no more can I demand. And he shakes his hand and he says, this is the dowry. This is the gift that I would give your son and you when they were married. Shake my hand and call the peace. And Montague says, but I can give thee more. For I will raise her statue in pure gold, that while Verona by that name is known, there shall no figure at such rate be set of that of true and faithful Juliet. He's like, I'll do you one better. I'm going to make a golden statue of Juliet. And as long as Verona is called Verona, nobody will be praised more than Juliet. And Capulet says, as rich shall Romeo by his ladies lie, poor sacrifices for our enmity. He's like, and I'll make one of Romeo and set it right beside her. They were poor sacrifices in our feud. And the prince says, a glooming peace this morning with it brings the sun, for sorrow will not show his head. Go hence to have more talk of these sad things. Some shall be pardoned, and some punished. For never was a story of more woe than this of Juliet and her Romeo. So he's like, this is going to be a dark piece this morning. The sun is even too sad to show itself. So let's leave and let's talk some more about these sad things. Some people that are involved in this are going to be pardoned. Some people that are involved in this are going to be punished. And there's never been a story of more pain than this of Romeo and Juliet. And they exit. So that's the end of the play. 6 people are dead. Mercutio, Tybalt, Paris, Lady Montague, Romeo, Juliet. This is often portrayed as a love story. Romeo and Juliet's this beautiful love story. My argument has always been that it's not. It's not a beautiful love story. These are 2 stupid kids who didn't think anything else other than themselves, got so wrapped up in each other that within 12 hours of meeting each other needed to get married, and it killed 4 other people and themselves because of it. Just my thoughts. So let's go ahead and take a look at your final assignment. All right, so our last assignment, last 2 pages. So summarize what happens in the scene. Do you think Balthazar was a good friend to Romeo? And explain it. Is Romeo killing Paris premeditated? Is it murder? Did he mean to do it? Did he think of doing it? Yes and no, and give your evidence. How does Juliet die? This scene here, explain what he's saying. Irony, um, explain the irony in this scene. It's dramatic irony. We know something that Romeo doesn't. Let's see. 3 examples of personification in his last speech. What are things when he's giving things that aren't alive the ability to be alive? Why did Friar Lawrence leave Juliet in the tomb when she's freaked out? And then the last 2 lines of the play, some answers about that. Then on the last thing, review questions for Act 5. And that'll be it. So that's going to give us a total of 15 assignments. Since our last class is pass, or this last semester's pass fail, 60% of your assignments would be 9 of the 15. If you have 9 of them turned in and given credit, you have passed the 4th 9 weeks. Depending on what your grades were in the first 9 weeks, the first 3 9 weeks, the more you do, the better it looks. So if you were failing in the first 3 9 weeks, the more work you do here, the better your grade is going to be, and the more apt that I'm going to let that 4th 9 weeks pull you up. So let's get to work. If you have any questions, I'm going to keep doing my Thursday at around noon online meetings. So if you have any questions, there we go. It's been fun doing this. I wish that I'd been able to do this in class. This is a really fun play to do a lot of fun stuff with. So I wish I'd have been able to do it in class, but unfortunately I wasn't able to. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Those of you that have made it all the way to this one, I think we're at close to like 10 hours. For a 2-hour play, the prologue said that is now the 2 hours traffic of our stage. I've taken about 10 hours to explain it, but hopefully y'all enjoyed it. This will be the last assignment that I give you. I'm not uploading anything more after this video. This is it between now and the end of May. So stay safe. I can't wait to see y'all next year. I won't have you. Maybe some of y'all have for journalism or something like that. I unfortunately won't have you for 9th grade English unless you fail me, then I might have you, but it's not going to happen to anybody. But can't wait to see you walking around in the halls. Can't wait for you to move on to, Mr. Barley. So y'all have a great time. Have a great year. Have a great summer. Stay safe.